hope to get some questions in from the audience. Clearly, if you're here, you understand that this is the major county-wide race in the election this year, and obviously we're all affected by Erie County's finances and budget, and to some extent the politics that mix in with the two. So we'll get started. Opening statement, 3 minutes. I'm going to try and hold the candidates around the times that we've talked about. We're not going to come down hard at exactly 2 minutes and cut you off, but let's try to keep things to, your answers are 2 minutes, and then each candidate has a 1-minute rebuttal to that answer, and we'll rotate back and forth on the questions. Okay? Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you very much. Opening statement, very quickly, I'm Phil Kadet, Republican candidate for County Comptroller. A little bit of quick background. 66 years old, lifetime resident of Erie County, lived in East Aurora that entire time, raised 4 children, married 42 years. I like Western New York. I'm not leaving Western New York. I'm what they call a lifer, and I'm here because I care about it, and I'm trying to bring what we consider to be an good government to Western New York. Work background and qualifications. Again, 33 years with a public accounting firm, Lumsden & McCormick. Started there as a staff accountant. The last 12 years of my career before I retired, I was a managing partner of that firm. Grew the firm into a large regional accounting firm. A great deal of success. I owe an enormous debt to Western New York because of that success. And I just want to give you a quick thought on what it takes to get there in terms of running a CPA public accounting firm. That firm relies on its reputation, and that reputation indeed is made up of the following items: independence, integrity, and objectivity. I think those are ideal qualifications to be the Comptroller of Erie County. The Comptroller of Erie County is, after all, the Chief Financial Officer of the county, and Chief Financial Officer of the county is expected to be independent and nonpartisan. And we're going to stress this nonpartisan aspect throughout this thing, because nonpartisanship means nonpartisanship. It means you do not necessarily give favoritism to any office, any branch of government, any party, any faction, or any pressure group. We will adhere to that because, by God, that is what public accountants do, and that's what Phil Kadet has done for his entire life. Vision for the office. Number one thing that attracts me to this office and service in local government is that I believe local and state government has become an insupportable burden in upstate New York. We need to bring fiscal discipline to local and state government. I can't reach the state level. It's important that we start somewhere and show that things can work. I think Erie County is an ideal place to do this because Erie County is already making steps toward fiscal discipline, and I believe we can continue that work, carry it forward, and I intend to do so by using the Comptroller's office as a means of communicating with the public, letting them know what's happening in the county, letting them know why it's happening in the county in terms of fiscal progress or lack of same, giving the forward-looking picture to the people of Erie County so they understand not only what the pitfalls are now and what the problems are now, but what it might lead to eventually. And that will be used in regard to all contracts, all new programs, every aspect of government. I will use the Comptroller's office to communicate effectively and inform the public as to what's happening. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Buffalo-Niagara Partnership for hosting this event, as well as the Smith Theater or the Chase Performing Arts Center for allowing us to use the Smith Theater. As Steve said, I'm Mark Poloncarz, and for the past 3 years and 9 months, I've had the privilege to serve as Erie County Comptroller, your watchdog. And I'm running for re-election because I don't want to see the hard-fought gains of the last 4 years lost at the hands of those who do not believe in the value of checks and balances in government. Let me take you back 4 years, though I don't think I need to really pop your memory banks about what Erie County was like 4 years ago. Red and green became synonymous not with colors, but with a fiscal disaster. We just come off the red and green fiscal crisis. The county had a $200 million surplus that was squandered to less than $5 million. $250 million in proceeds from the tobacco settlement that was supposed to last for 20 years that was gone. We sold ECMC in itself so that they could balance the budget in 2004 and left $85 million, brought $85 million one shot to the table. However, we now have a $200 million long-term debt we have to pay for because of the sale of ECMC to itself. I ran for controller 4 years ago because I believed we needed new leadership that would guide Erie County to a brighter future. The fiscal crisis in Erie County was not caused because of structural deficiencies in Erie County government, but because of financial mismanagement of elected officials, Democrats and Republicans alike. It was like a train going down the tracks at 150 miles an hour with a brick wall at the end. Any one of the branches of government, controller, county executive, or legislature, could have pulled the brake, but nobody did. They let the train hit the wall. I was elected to help clean up that mess, and I'm proud to report, almost 4 years later, we have restored fiscal discipline in Erie County. Our fund balance, which was less than $5 million, has been increased tenfold to $57 million. We've ended up with 4 straight years of balanced budgets, each year with surpluses. I've been able to rebuild Erie County's credit rating, which at the county control board former chairman used to say was the worst in the United States. I've been able to rebuild the credit rating, receiving upgrades from every one of the major rating agencies, and right now we're just below an A rating, which nobody thought we'd be able to do in this time. And I use the office as a true watchdog. Since I've been elected, I've strengthened the office of the Division of Audit, putting in a certified internal auditor as the deputy controller for audit. We've done over 30 major audits and reviews in which we've uncovered millions of dollars of wasteful government spending. And I created a whistleblower hotline so that you can report back to the government that serves you on any waste, fraud, and abuse of your tax dollars by either a phone number call, an email, or a form on the internet. And you can do it anonymously, and we review every single one of the reports that we get. We've created a much more reporting mechanism in Erie County. I put more reports on. It's the first time that financial statements have ever been released on a quarterly basis by Erie County, and it's available on the internet. Every one of our audits are available on the internet. That's because the office is truly an independent watchdog. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you do something that's not in the best interest of the taxpayers, I'm going to call you out on it, and that's what I will continue to do if you give me the privilege to serve another term. Thank you.
Definitely dealing with accountants here, we're waiting on this second. Well done. We're going to open up here with a question for both of you, starting with Phil Kadet. Please give us one example of your success as a fiscal watchdog that exemplifies the qualities you'll bring to the county controller's office.
Well, certainly the obvious one, number one would be what I did as not as a partner in the firm that I used to work with, but as a staff member of the firm I used to work with. I headed up the audit of Erie County for the years 1981, 2, and 3. That audit, the last year thereof, which actually performed in 1984, uncovered the $40 million Erie County deficit. By the time we uncovered it, of course, it was 1984, and the county was looking at another $40 million deficit for that year. So that clearly was a very, very major problem for the county. I'm very pleased with the role we played with that. My opponent may try and paint that as a cover-up of some sort, but I do want to show you the headline that ensued in the Buffalo News after the first report of that audit. It does say, county faces insolvency, auditors say. I believe that the job was done well and professionally. Number two, I have acted as an outside chief financial officer for several organizations. And I'm not going to talk about the private organizations because they're confidential, but two that I can recall, number one are the Buffalo Convention Center, and the second one was the Buffalo City Auto Ranch, both of which are substantial corporations, both of which had very, very difficult financial problems, neither of which ever missed a step under my stewardship. Never asked for an extra handout, all run properly. That's the earmark of a finance professional. I believe I have those abilities to monitor, to watch, to lead, and to get the ship safely to port regardless of circumstances.
Thanks, Mark. You have 1 minute to comment on that answer.
Sure. With regards to Mr. Kadet's background, I can't really speak on the issues he's done in the private sector. With regards to what he did in Erie County, in 1983 there was a significant deficit which nobody talked about during 1983. Mr. Kadet's firm was the independent auditor hired by the county executive at that point, not hired as it is right now by the county controller. His firm identified originally approximately a $13 million deficit. In the end, it turned out to be about a $30 to $39 million deficit, as Mr. Kadet mentioned, and only determined when the state controller's office came in to actually look and find out what the number was. Because as even the auditor said,